Ross Bolen Podcast.
You better listen.
Welcome back to the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen, back as always, again, with your co-host, Chris Coulson.
What's up, man? Hey, remember like 2 months ago, I came into the studio.
Sure.
Back in the old studio.
Sure.
And I officially announced that it was hoodie season. Do you remember that?
You did. You were wrong, but
I lied.
you did.
Yeah, I
you
lied.
did lie.
I
But we
would
might
like
be
to-
back now.
I was going to say, I would like to come back today and officially re-announce we have re-entered hoodie season. Congrats, everybody. We officially made it. Good job.
Texas, congratulations. Yeah, the weather here is like this, man. In the winter, we don't really know what we're going to get on a week-to-week basis. So some weeks we get nice fall or wintry weather that's similar to the rest of the country and
Sure.
world. And then a lot of the time we don't.
And then,
So
like, yesterday-
back in hoodie season now, but perhaps next week, it could be 80 degrees again. We don't know.
It was 80 degrees yesterday. It's
I'm wearing a
wild
jacket
down here.
today.
Yeah.
I got a jacket on.
Looking sharp.
I
Yeah,
might
we're fully clothed.
jacket
fully
in the
covered.
studio. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that.
Only our wrists and ankles are exposed, like
I am sorry for that.
1800s Mormon women.
Yeah. Christopher, we have entered the holiday season.
We have.
It's a huge week. A
Big week.
huge week. Might be an even bigger week for your boy, as it looks like the Tesla might come in, and I could be back on the road in a robot car as soon as the end of the week, or perhaps next week. Huzzah.
No way.
Yeah, it's huge.
Look at that.
Huge. And a huge show today, so let's dive in. RBP 351 is brought to you by Cuts Clothing. For better or for worse, 2020 has kicked off the work-from-home era, and everyone is asking one big question. What the hell am I supposed to wear? Do you really need to wear a tie for your Zoom meeting? Probably not.
Eh.
But sweatpants and your go-to gym tee don't necessarily feel right either. Cuts Clothing, the perfect solution to your work-from-home wardrobe confusion. They make the best T-shirts in the world, and they're the best in the world at making technical apparel for the sport of business, because business is a sport. They've got T-shirts, polos, and hoodies with enough quality and style to wear in the office, on a date, or anywhere in between. You don't have to choose between a classic look and a modern feel. Cuts Clothing has completely changed the game. In 2016, Stephen Borelli was struggling to find the perfect T-shirt. He wanted to have something that had enough quality to be worn professionally at work, but also enough style for a night out, and no matter where he looked, nothing fit the bill, so he took matters into his own hands, and the result was Cuts Clothing, a product you could be proud to wear anytime, anywhere, without sacrificing comfort. Call it the Steve Jobs advantage if you want. Stop spending so much time and energy picking out clothes in the morning. Throw on a Cuts shirt, some pants, and get on with your day. You'll be ready for anything. It's the simple sophistication and versatility of a Cuts shirt that means you'll never again have to spend time thinking about what you should wear. That's why Cuts is the only shirt worth wearing, loved by your favorite athletes, entrepreneurs, and even podcast hosts. Seems like everyone is wearing Cuts these days. I'm wearing one of their shirts a few times a week now. They're the most comfortable, best-fitting tees I've ever owned. Everybody knows I'm a huge T-shirt guy. These are literally a cut above the hundreds of other tees I have, in large part due to the cut. They're just perfectly made T-shirts. Get 15% off your first order by going to cutsclothing.com/RBP. That's Cuts, C-U-T-S, clothing.com/RBP for 15% off. The only shirt worth wearing. Now some announcements and shouts. Happy birthday, 18th birthday even, to Ian, coming up on the 24th. The 18th is a big one. You're a man now, Ian.
Good luck.
Unless you're Jewish, in which case you became a man years ago.
You've now been officially entered into the draft
Now you can just buy cigarettes.
and vote.
Some places.
Actually?
Do you have to be 21 now?
Yeah.
Good for cigarettes.
Nah. Yeah, but like, what's the fun in turning 18 anymore? Like, when I turned 18, I went and bought a cigar. You can't even do that anymore.
Porn, lotto tickets,
People watch porn before they're 18.
consent with other adults.
Okay, that's a big one.
There's a lot of stuff going down when you turn. You can vote.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
Missed out just a little.
It's a big one. You shouldn't be able to vote, but you can.
If you live in Georgia, you can now vote in the runoff elections. Congratulations, Ian. Maybe you live in Georgia.
If I'm ever president, here are the ages that we will be changing. You will be able to drive a car at 25. That's when you get your driver's license, not 16. 25 years old. You can drink alcohol at 15. We're
I like
reversing
that.
some things here. Substances, 15 years old. Cigarettes, you can open up tobacco to the children, too. I don't care. I don't care about tobacco anymore. Now that I've had to conquer it, I feel like everybody should. What else? Oh, the age for voting, 35. I won't even be able to vote yet. I'm 33.
So you can only vote when you can run for president?
You can only vote when you're an adult, and we can't be sure about anybody until at least 30-ish. So 35 to play it safe. That's when you vote. What did I say when you can drive? 25.
And 15 to drink.
You can, unless your car's a robot car, then you can drive at 21. There's an incentive for the robot car people. But we got our ages and shit all out of whack.
Yeah. I would agree with
Voting
that.
when you're 18 is insane.
Yeah, but also, like, serving for your country when you're 18 is kind of insane, too.
Yeah, they should bump that shit up too
Yeah, probably.
to like robots only.
Just all Pathfinders everywhere.
Robots only,
We
bro.
just have a shit ton of Pathfinders just ziplining around Iraq. I don't even know if we're
When
in
are we
Iraq
doing
anymore.
like?
Are we
'cause
in the Middle East?
We're not gonna Avatar. Well, we're there in small spaces. We're
Sure.
coming back slowly but surely.
Safe
One
spaces.
day. One day. Avatar was crazy because like those are aliens, but we should be able to do that with robots soon, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Like I just want to control my robot soldier
Like we got to be
that's
there.
off in the Middle East fighting
I feel like
ISIS.
10 years ago I saw like a History Channel documentary on like they were already starting to do this then. So like where are we now? Why
Dude,
have
I
not
saw-
seen more about this.
I saw a fucked up story this morning on the BBC. This kid, I think his parents somehow decided they were going to get involved with terrorism,
Sure.
and he ended up like over there as a little kid, like a 10-year-old.
Okay.
And they were using him to make propaganda videos for ISIS, and now he's like back living a normal life in the States with like a mullet and like his uncle or some shit because his parents are in like terrorist
ISIS?
prison.
Wait, so he was just like an ISIS propaganda superstar?
He was an ISIS propaganda tool as a child.
He was like
And
the
now he's like
K-pop-
having to rebuild his life with like his Confederate flag wearing uncle or
Oh
something.
wow. Holy, what a turn of events.
The
there.
whole thing is just it's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's a little wild. That's
was
like
crazy.
I saw the other day on there was a trend that went around on Twitter a couple months ago that was like the dad, the daughter, or the dad, the son, or something like that.
The Father,
And,
the Holy Spirit,
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And one of Bin Laden's daughters
and the son.
did it on Twitter, and it went viral.
Did what?
The thing, like where she posted a picture of like the daughter and then the dad, and the dad was Osama bin Laden, and everybody was like, "What the hell?" Because it was Bin Laden's daughter, and she's just like hanging out on Twitter. She's like a Twitter personality. She's got like thousands of followers, like hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter.
The fuck?
Yeah.
That's interesting. If you
Yeah.
want to watch our podcast instead of just listen, you can do so at youtube.com/Bolen Media. Watch episodes on YouTube and see our shining faces. You can still hear our voices, too, if you're unclear how YouTube works. Speaking of which, you can watch our shining faces playing video games with podcast listeners a few times a week at twitch.tv/BossRollin. Twitch is a streaming platform that allows us to go live and play video games, and you can see us while we're playing, and we interact with the chat and talk to people, and we pull in podcast listeners to play games with us, and it's a blast. Twitch.tv/BossRollin. That's Ross Bolen with the B and the R reversed. We'll be live tonight at 7 p.m. Central on twitch.tv/BossRollin. Tonight is Monday, November 23rd, by the way. Twitch.tv/BossRollin. Also, our television, film, entertainment, pop culture podcast here at Bolen Media titled Oysters, Clams, and Cockles made huge announcements last week regarding how the show is going to be operating moving forward. It is no longer going to be so viewership intensive for listeners to keep up with. Barrett and I are going to be discussing more general television, film, entertainment news every single week. And then on Patreon for OCC, we're going to be doing The Sopranos, starting with season 1, episode 1. One episode per podcast as we see fit at the time for the time being. And Barrett has never watched The Sopranos, and I've seen it roughly 7 or 8 times through the 70 hours worth of TV or whatever it is. And it's going to be incredible. I can't wait. We haven't covered a show like this since we did OCC, or since we did Game of Thrones on OCC. Obviously, over a year and a half ago, Game of Thrones ended. And since then, we've kind of been finding our new direction with OCC. We've done that. It's available wherever you listen to RBP. Go subscribe, follow, rate, review Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, our TV and film and pop culture and entertainment show here at Bolen Media. And look forward to... We've already changed up. Like, you can listen to the show any week now, and you don't have to have watched a single thing, and you'd be good. But also, looking forward to starting The Sopranos first week of December on OCC. So tune in there for more details. That is it in terms of announcements and shouts. It is now time for our first segment. Monday Mental Health Minute. Hey, look, I didn't forget.
We did it.
Look at me. Look at us. For today's Monday Mental Health Minute, we're focusing on something that's more important now than it has ever been, at least in my lifetime. Unplugging, which is a weird one for me personally to discuss. But everyone at this point should be aware that social media and the internet have given rise to issues in our society, worldwide, really. And we are all carrying too much daily as a result of being too connected, over-connected, too informed. I mean, human beings weren't meant to know the damn news as it breaks worldwide every 5 minutes. We weren't.
No.
We weren't. I always talk about, like, it's funny to think about the way our grandparents lived. Like, you know, you would wake up,
And you read the newspaper in the morning.
maybe,
Yeah.
you know, if you were trying to be educated,
Yeah.
you'd read the newspaper in the morning, and that was it. Like, maybe you got some water cooler talk or whatever, but there wasn't, like, checking Twitter every 10 minutes to see if the president has had another meltdown or, like, see what fucking international crisis has broken out. It's like, the 24-hour news cycle, which is a thing that people started to really talk about back, like, probably when I was in college, even a little bit before then, as the internet has really, and social media has really gone crazy. And it's not even 24 hours anymore. It's more like an hour now. Like, you can check in every hour and get a totally different set of headlines with a totally different set of new events, and keeping, like, it feels like the news never stops, right?
Yeah.
Like, the stories that you're aware
Well,
of.
the way
like,
that they design it is, like, in the way that they space out their days and stuff like that, they intentionally make it to where they make it feel worth it to check in all the time because it's constantly changing.
well, it
but
just
it's like a
feels like
trick,
you
know?
It feels like you should want to be aware.
Yeah, because every time you check it, it's something new, and you're like, well, if every time I'm checking it, I'm getting something new out of it, then I should probably keep checking it.
But and that's exactly the sentiment that I personally have that's my problem with it.
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
I always
yeah.
am like, well, there's still new stuff. I mean, I'm not doing anything wrong. But you can't do anything about that new
Yeah.
stuff. Like, you don't actually have any impact on the news. These are things we cannot control for the most part. Obviously, there are a lot of things we can do to help contribute to the way the news is unfolding on a day-to-day basis right now, in regard to voting, in regard to mask wearing, in regard to all the different things we hear about on a day-to-day basis that have gotten wildly annoying at this point. But, like, unplugging and disconnecting from the nonstop onslaught of bad news and horrifying headlines is absolutely necessary to maintaining mental health. And you have to monitor this for yourself. That's one of the big things. No doctor is going to show up and say, hey, man, you're spending 3 hours too many a day on Twitter or whatever. Like, they might say, hey, man, you need to lose 30 pounds or your heart's going to explode when you go in for, like, a checkup. You don't go in for a checkup and they're like, and what's your internet usage looking
You know,
like?
that's a really interesting concept, though, because I feel like that's something that will be coming in the next, say, 10 years. Like, when you go into a doctor for, like, a checkup.
That there's
well,
more
hopefully-
respect for mental health in there as well.
Yeah, to where it's like, you know, you're filling out, like, when you go in, the form you're filling out is not only just, like, physical ailments, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, how much time are you spending on social media a day? How much time are you doing this a day?
Yeah,
How
because
much-
they'll ask you how many alcoholic drinks do you have
Yeah.
a day or a week, but they don't
or
say shit
how
about this,
much
which
do you
is like
smoke, or-
equally as.
I would say arguably
I've never had one
more.
ask me how much I smoke.
Really?
Nah, they tend to just care about alcohol for some reason. It's
I had a
weird.
doctor one time that asked me, do you smoke? And I said, smoke what? And they were like, oh, so you smoke weed.
Oh, they'll definitely ask you if you smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
That
what
shit
that's
for
what
sure.
were
They
asking.
always
Yeah,
bring it
they're
up,
like,
and then
"Do you
they
smoke?"
they
I was
ask you.
like,
At least in Texas, where everything is still illegal, it's do you use any illicit substances or whatever. And also keep
really?
in mind, I haven't had a checkup in like a decade, so maybe they do ask you stuff about mental health now. But if they don't, they certainly fucking should.
Bro, I was like, in the 1950s, they didn't ask me shit about my
Yeah,
brain.
last time I went in, I got a polio vaccine.
And they tried to put you in the iron lung for an hour.
Oh, actually, dude, at one point I did go do like an iron lung breathing test thing for because I thought I had like lung cancer when I was first diagnosed with before I
Oh.
was diagnosed with panic disorder.
Yeah.
That shit was tight. It's
Yeah,
really
well,
good for your anxiety to be shut in a giant tube
Wait, you were
with
actually
a tube in your mouth, and then they make you breathe like you have to do X amount of breaths in and out to test your lung capacity, and it was ridiculous. But the point is this. For the rest of the year, 2020, as things undoubtedly get even more stressful during this holiday season with a pandemic raging around us and all manner of fun political drama swirling, each of us is going to have to be even more intentional with how much we expose ourselves to stressors in the news. We all, frankly, have enough in our day-to-day lives. Like, at this point, most people I know, and I'm serious here, most people I know now, up in through this month of November that I've talked to, are having financial issues either at work or at home or both. Companies are failing left and right. People are trying to figure out if they're going to be able to make it into 2020 professionally, if companies are going to survive, what changes they're going to have to make to be able to do budgeting. Obviously, we're still seeing massive layoffs across all manner of different industries. Like, it is not going to get easier here these last 2 months as we are. For those, I mean, some of us are lucky enough that we'll be surrounded by family and friends in the coming weeks with Thanksgiving, with Christmas, with all the other holidays that are going on. And for those of us that are, I guess you could say, lucky in that way, there's even more added stressors because you got to worry about your family and all this political crap that normally by now, in a normal year would have been mostly washed over. But this is all still very much an open wound for people. Like, this hasn't ended. We haven't had a concession. Things are not as they normally would be. There's even more animosity, even more division than normal. And I mean, that impacts almost every family that I'm aware of. Like, it's crazy. I'm going to tell a really quick story. This is going to be a slight detour, but I had an Uber driver on Friday in Austin, which notoriously liberal douchebag city, right? Like, I am becoming the, poster child for Austin douchery as I have a podcast, mental health ailments, don't drink, smoke weed, have 4 dogs now, I guess. And then I bought a Tesla. I bought a Tesla. So, I mean, I get it. What was my point? I'm too distracted by how big of a clown I am.
Uber driver Friday.
Oh, so I took an Uber on Friday because I'm still Ubering everywhere, like Lil Uzi or whoever did that song.
No, I think it was Maddie and Tay.
I was close.
Like
thank you. A mumble rapper. And this dude was a big old fat white guy. All right, like probably 300 pounds, 6 foot fucking 6. Huge man in a big old truck. Not an uncommon thing to get picked up by a dude like this in Texas, right? I'm familiar. Mans has his mask on, but it's down below his nose. And at this point, I'm just like, fucking idiot. I don't care. Whatever. I'm just like trying not to even look at guy, right? At this point, like I'm trying to get in and out of these Ubers, just like breathe as little air as I can, as little conversation as possible, and then I'm out. Well, the homie, I got my AirPods in. If they're paying even the least bit of attention, they can hear the fucking bass coming out, and like they don't try to talk to me because listen, I can't hear you, son. This dude didn't give a fuck. He just starts rambling. And the first question he asked me is like, what do you think about people who don't wear masks? And I was like, oh, fuck.
Here we fucking go.
But I thought he was like, classic Austin liberal, gonna go all, let's talk about how we're great because we wear the masks. And I was like, bro, you don't even have your mask on correctly. That's not the route he went. Nope. He took me for a Trumper. And I don't know what it was. I think I thought about this for a while.
Were you wearing that hat? The Dallas Country Club hat?
Nah. Nah. And can we edit that out? Fuck y'all. Don't edit it out, Mike. I'm just playing. But I didn't have this hat on. I was just sitting in the car, but when I got in, I said yeah. Like he was like Ross, and I was like yes, sir. And I didn't know if it was the way I just responded to that he was like, well, I'm going to assume that manners equals Trump or like so. I have no fucking idea. I could not figure out the loophole this man jumped through to get himself to like, I'm definitely rocking with a Trump passenger here because keep in mind, Austin, very blue city. Very blue. This guy's odds of me being on his squad were not high.
Low,
and
some would say.
He was just like, fuck it. And fortunately, I'm a pretty mild-mannered human being at this point. Like, I've got a lot of friends on both sides, and I get everybody's pain and suffering, and I'm just, at this point, I'm not really, like, holding anything against anybody so much as just trying to help. So I'm down to listen to your dumb ass if you want to rant about whatever the fuck. So I did for this guy. Didn't have a choice, first of all, unless I wanted to dive out of the car onto the fucking highway, which at some points I did consider. And Mans was just rambling about, like, how... I mean, I don't even know. It was hell on earth. He jumps to being able to carry a gun. Okay? Don't ask me how we got there. I have no clue. I'm talking as little as possible. He gets to getting to carry a gun and your handgun license and how he's got friends who think it's crazy that he carries a gun all the time. And I was like, I mean, I got friends that carry a gun all the time. I don't really get it, but like, whatever, man. It's America. That's your right. But then he's like, yeah, see this here, and he pats his side. And this fuck has his pistol on his hip, but not just on his hip so I could see it. And on his hip so that the full outline was there. And like, again, I've been around guns my whole life, so I'm not particularly alarmed by this, being from Texas and growing up in Houston and having a lot of friends who hunt and shit. But for a normal person, this would have been an alarming moment. And what I found to be extremely alarming after the fact was that I realized what this man was doing. He's looking for the fight. He's wearing the gun on his hip, and he's bringing it up to every fucking person who gets in his car in an effort to drive more conflict. And I was like, I was just so taken aback by that. This is a guy who's, by the way, took a phone call, just to give you an example of the kind of individual we're dealing with here. This fucker took a phone call from his mother, who has to be in her 80s or 90s, inviting him to Thanksgiving on speakerphone with me in the car, lies to his mom about staying in Austin for COVID safety purposes, gets off the phone with her and tells me, no, I'm actually going to Houston to go hunting with my buddy. And I was just like, bro, I hope you get struck by fucking lightning. Like, everything about this was the worst situation ever.
God,
Then I heard a story this weekend about some friends at a wedding in Houston. Okay, they Uber after the wedding. Their Uber driver doesn't have a mask on. And they asked him kindly to put his mask on. So he puts it on, and he got it below his nose. And they say, sir, we don't understand. You're wearing it, but you're wearing it below your nose. It's not correct. We don't feel comfortable. Fool pulls over into a parking lot, gets out of the car, and is like, get the fuck out of my car. And then he pulls out a gun.
What?
In the parking lot, and they were like, dude, cool, do your mask thing, whatever the fuck, and like have to bail, obviously. Nobody gets hurt. It's all ends well. But I was like, yo, that could have been my guy. It might have been my guy. And
Bro,
if I had decided to be like, sir, I didn't vote the way you think I did, or I don't believe in all the things you are assuming I do, and in fact, I disagree with you, like, I could have put myself in a position to be arguing with a guy who was strapped in a ride I was paying for. And that was just like, it was a really, really, really good reminder to me. Like, this isn't over. It's not going to be over probably in my lifetime in terms of the disagreements we have on the right and left now and how deeply ingrained they are on both sides. And I had one more thing just for some real Monday mental health scaries for you here. His mom's, when she was on the phone, she go, I can't remember what the lie he told her was that he was going to stay here and go with a friend or something to be safe in Austin.
Okay.
And she was like, well, are they a good Trump family? And I was like, what does that mean? The whole family, the whole squad has to have the exact same political beliefs and be on the exact same team. And like, isn't that the very problem? This is politics, not sports. You don't you raise your kids to be a Dallas Cowboys fan because you're a douchebag. You don't raise your kids to be Republican.
Or maybe you do.
Or do a lot of people.
Yeah, maybe that's the issue.
And that's a big problem in the United States. We treat politics like sports.
And I mean,
we treat sports like politics.
I don't mean, to be clear, I don't necessarily mean the issue is raising your kid to be a Republican. I mean raising your kid to be politically affiliated in any way, shape, or form.
Raising your kid with a predetermined set of beliefs that they do not get to judge themselves.
Yeah.
Is still it's such a weird thing for me. And it's like, I realize that extends into religion. It extends into a lot of different arenas. And it's super complicated, and I don't have all the answers as a non-parent. Like, y'all know a lot better than I do if you've got kids how all this works out. But the training or the thought process of like, we are a Republican or a Democrat family, and like this is who we vote for, and this is why, and like believe that and take it with you for the rest of your life. Like, that's just such a strange thing that we do in the U.S. I know is a thing in other countries too, and it's not a new thing either. This has been since the beginning of politics, I'm sure, long before America even existed, I'm sure. But it's one that, like, at this point is obviously a huge problem. Like, this is a huge issue that's only going to further deepen the divide that we are currently dealing with. So, back to my original point. Sorry for the sidetrack story, but that shit was just like, it was so wild, and like I had to do the yeah, no, I feel you, man. Like, yeah, for sure. Like, just sitting there like, God, I hope I don't, say the wrong thing to upset this gun-toting Uber driver.
Is it even like?
I don't think so. I don't think you're allowed
I'm kind of surprised that, like, if Uber does allow you to carry a gun while you're on the job, that's very shocking to me.
Insurance-wise, I don't think they're allowed to do. Because girlfriend was like, "Did you report him?" And I was like, "Nah, I mean, if he had given me any type of more vibes about that I needed to be fearful for myself, I absolutely would have. But he was a genuinely nice guy. But again, in hindsight, I don't know if he was only like that because I was being agreeable. Now, I wasn't like, "You're absolutely right, brother," or anything like that. I was just like, "Yeah, sure. Like, just try to get the fuck out of the car." But anyway, weird situation.
Quick Google says that Uber and Lyft have a no firearms policy. But
yeah, so again, a dude, this is why I am very confident at this point that he was looking for conflict and going out of his way to try to instigate, and that's what really pissed me off in hindsight, that I was like, man, fuck you. Like, anybody needs this shit right now. But back to the news thing, you got to take like, you got to take care of yourself physically, obviously. And we talk about getting good sleep, eating well, working out, doing the basics to take care of your body and mind, especially in times when you know the stress is going to be higher, right? But even if you're doing all that shit and you're inundating yourself with nonstop trash news all day, every day, you're going to be miserable. You're going to be you might physically feel well, but mentally you're going to drain yourself to the point where it will take a toll on your physical health. That's an unavoidable thing. That's how it goes. So give yourself a set time, if you must, to check the news every day. This is the thing I've started doing with my email, because my email is such a stressor for me, because I get too many goddamn emails. And girlfriend was like, you need to give yourself 3 times a day you check in on your email or whatever. And that's it. Those are the only times you check your email. And that's been a good step for me. But, like, my job makes it very difficult for me personally to disconnect from online stuff.
100%.
This is my work. And it is my job to be informed about as much as possible so that I can speak as accurately as possible on different subjects on this show. As such, I've had to learn how to take care of my shit in a different way. But for those of you who do not need social media, which just means if you have a job that isn't on the internet and doesn't revolve around marketing on social media, which is a lot of you, man, fuck this shit. Like, you do not need this as often as you are using it. We are all way the fuck too deep. And during 2020, Thanksgiving, Christmas, November, December, moving into January even, we all need to give ourselves a break.
And I've been trying to use airplane mode a lot more too when I disconnect, so like nothing can get to me. Like nothing, like when I'm in the moment, so I can like really disconnect and get out in nature. What?
I'm just kidding.
You try to reach me all the time and I'm just MIA.
Chris, answer the phone! Get to the fucking phone, Chris!
Anyways,
goddamn airplane mode!
Yesterday I went out to a very small country wedding, like in an area with no service out in a little more east, or a couple hours east of Austin. And when I got there, I had no service on the phone, and the person that invited me, she was like, do you want the Wi-Fi password? And I was like, honestly, I don't really want the Wi-Fi password. I kind of would like to just not be on my phone and not have any way of contact for a couple hours. And so that's what I did. For like 2 hours, I just kept the phone in my pocket and just enjoyed observing and like being a part of that and everything like that. And it's so nice to just like disconnect and kind of reground yourself like that, especially when you're out in nature like that, away from big civilization. It's very calming to get out there away from the hustle bustle and kind of really understand, you know, what are you doing? What's important to you? What's your purpose right now? Kind of what are you looking for? And in settings like that, it's a lot easier to, you know, find those answers than it is when you're surrounded by the constant moving cogs, you know, when you're stuck in the machine.
No, absolutely. And I mean, that's something that, you know, important to keep in mind with these Monday mental health, with any of the mental health segments we do, they all connect, right? So like last week we talked about, what did you just bring up that I was talking about last week?
This reminded me of notification madness that we talked about a couple weeks ago too, with getting all your notifications in order to where you're not getting blown up 24/7 on your phone.
That too. Yeah, I can't remember what I was going to connect it to, but the point is this: don't be plagued and haunted every waking minute by what about this and what if this happens and the COVID and presidents and politics and holiday travel scares and fuck all that. Focus on you and your family, your friends, whether that means you're fortunate enough to do so in person this year or you have to do so safely from a distance. Take care of yourselves. And speaking of taking care of yourselves, RBP 351 is also brought to you by Hawthorne. Whether you're treating yourself or shopping for someone on your list this holiday season, finding the right gift, it's obviously a difficult thing. But this holiday season, Hawthorne is making giving fun and simple. Hawthorne is a premium tailored personal care brand that's making it easy for guys to feel smart, to feel and smell their best by using the best products available. When you go to hawthorne.co, you'll take their quick quiz to figure out which scents are best for you. It legitimately takes about 2 minutes, and just by taking it, you'll see just what Hawthorne is all about. They're going to hit you with the 2 colognes that are best for you, one for work and one for play. Shouldn't smell the same at work as you do at play. That would be silly. Hawthorne's got you covered. They also have incredible personalized products like deodorant, shampoo, body wash. I have all of that. This morning in the shower, I got the shampoo and the conditioner and the body wash working, smelling like some kind of delicious man candy. I use the work scent when I'm coming to work here to obviously do work. Perhaps later when I'm playing Twitch, I'll hit the play scent when the mood is right. Who knows? I don't know if there will be time. But get special offers for the holidays going on right now by visiting hawthorne.co. That's hawthorne.co to check out their special holiday offers at Hawthorne. And now it is time for our next segment.
And And now, Ross Bolen's Animal of the Week.
Okay. Animal of the Week. We're back. It's an animal, and this is a week. This week's Animal of the Week is a panda. And I'm going to try this. Xiao Ji. He's the newest cuddly member of the National Zoo in, what is this, in China? Nope, not in China. Here, our National Zoo.
Yeah.
The Smithsonian's National Zoo. Not China's National Zoo. You think panda, you think China. Is that racist?
No, that's just where the panda's from.
Maybe.
Okay.
Anyway, they've got it. Here's the deal with this panda. First of all, love pandas. Huge fan of the panda. When I was a little kid, I don't know if I've ever disclosed this, but when I was a little boy, when I was born, in fact, and I believe it was my Mimi, if I'm not mistaken, my mom's mom, gave me a stuffed animal. It was a panda bear. All right, let's say a foot tall.
Sure.
Let's say a foot tall panda bear, about yay big, about yay plush too, if you're watching on YouTube. All right, so like a good 2 handful, like a big fucking stuffy pluffy. Like he was bigger than me when I was born. Let me put it that way.
He's a stuffy pluffy.
Stuffy pluffy panda bear. And I named the dude Mr. Bear or someone named him Mr. Bear. One of my uncreative parents, apparently. I'm just kidding, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, put it on them.
But I couldn't speak or have thoughts that were that I could communicate. So I'm assuming somebody else named Mr. Bear. So I went with that. But he was my stuffed animal as a kid. And like, what I mean by he was my stuffed animal as a kid is that I slept with this little dude for about 13 years, maybe even a little bit longer, if we're being real about it. And we are. He went to camp with me and shit, but like I slept with him every fucking night in the crib, in my twin bed, up into when I got like a full-size bed as a larger child that was like about to hit puberty. Mr. Bear was my dude.
Was
that
it
was
like
how how some people have like a blankie,
Yeah.
or like or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Linus has that blanket.
Yeah.
I had Mr. Bear.
At one point, I had a Binky that I called my Mr. Binky or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was my favorite Binky. And then we were in the
A lot of kids go with Binky. Call it Binky. The pacifier?
Yeah, the pacifier, yeah.
Passy, Binky.
And then when we were in the Target parking lot one time, I threw it on the ground. And my mom was like, all right, if you throw it on the ground again, I'm tossing the Binky. And I threw it on the ground again.
You lost Binky.
Binky said bye-bye. Mama went
Binky.
Peyton Manning and tossed Binky back into Target.
Damn.
Yeah, so that
Mama
was...
Cole's
that,
taught you that. Diane has an arm. Nobody knows this.
Yeah. That was softball pitcher back
She
in the day.
chunked the
She
shit.
chunked it. Binky said, yeah.
Fuck around that Binky, bro. It's gone.
That was Binky round 2. Binky round 1, I threw out the upstairs window for some reason. Apparently I really liked Binky, but I love throwing Binky too.
That's how little kids are. Man, they just fucking throw everything.
They love it, and then
I'll say on this,
I guess
Mr.
if
Bear.
you love it, let it go.
There was never a Mr. Bear 2.0.
He was the OG all the way
And this
through.
isn't like one of those things where my parents could have lied and like snuck in another bear at some point, and here's why. Mr. Bear patchy, like my facial hair. Like he's just got like sections missing, but all over his goddamn body as a result of being like cuddled for 15 years or 17 years, however many years
Would
it
you
was.
like
Nobody knows. Maybe I'm still got him. You don't know.
The sleep with him like this?
Or
like,
I'm like
would
a
he just,
side
like-
guy, so I cuddle like spoons, man.
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
my
yeah.
little spoon.
Yeah. I sleep with a body pillow now. So
And he
basically-
still exists, and he's at my dad's house is the crazy thing. Like Mr. Bear is out there still getting it, and he's just got not much fur left. And ironically, the baby is, as I refer to my girlfriend's little girl as the baby, she has a Mr. Bear of her own. It's not named a Mr. Bear, but it's a panda, and it's a little bit smaller. And this was like totally out in like a total coincidence. Like I didn't give her this. And so she loves pandas, and like she was a little panda for I was a panda. The whole squad was pandas for Halloween. Now that I'm
hell
thinking
yeah.
about it, so I'm a big panda guy. Anytime there's panda news, or we pop out a new panda from another panda, or we're naming a panda, I'm there. I'm here for this.
We got to support the pandas.
So the Smithsonian's National Zoo held a naming contest for the male panda cub in time for its 3-month birthday. So they've got this panda. It's made it to 3 months. I'm guessing they don't name it until X amount of time has passed for some reason.
Probably just in
Safety. But you don't want to get too attached if they fucking die or get
yeah.
sick. I don't know how pandas are. It seems like they'd have a pretty good percentage of survival in the zoo. Anyway.
You'd hope.
The name, Xiao Ji, again, idiot American, I don't speak Mandarin. It means little miracle in Mandarin Chinese, which is a great one. The other names they considered were Prosperous Boy, Happy and Prosperous, which feels like the second somebody came up with that one, Prosperous Boy's fucked.
Yeah. It's like,
And that meeting must have sucked. The guy who was like, oh, prosperous boy. And then, like, some chick 2 seats down was like, happy and prosperous. And they were like, Kevin, you're out.
he was like, fuck you, Shelly.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. And then also they went with they almost went with Zai Zai, which is a traditional Chinese nickname for a boy, which is fucking tight. And we need more traditional nicknames that are tight for boys in America.
And the Zai Zai characters, definitely the most aesthetically pleasing of all of the names.
Yeah, it's like a number 7, but also an F reversed, but like twice.
It kind of looks like 1717.
Low key, the Chinese have far and away the coolest written language.
Oh,
of all the big languages that I'm aware of, anyway. Because who's the asshole who was like, no, we're gonna make you draw a complicated little figurine for every fucking word you want to accomplish.
Yeah, and like all the little like every stroke mark means something. It's very intricate. It's fascinating to watch somebody write in Chinese, especially with ink on a scroll. Like, I feel like that's
It's
something
crazy,
I fall
though.
asleep to. You know how you fall asleep to chakra music?
Yeah.
I fall asleep to a old little Chinese woman writing Mandarin on a scroll
If you've never slept
with a bong in the background.
to chakra music, and I know I don't even know what it means, frankly, I still don't fully understand what chakra music does. But like, I remember I had a friend that was a girl, a female, several years ago that was like, yeah, I jam chakra music when I sleep, and I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? And the first time I put it on, and it was like, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm not going to be able to sleep. This is mad distracting. There's like a monk making strange noises in my ear. Nah, this shit's incredible.
Nah,
I
3
use
minutes
it every
later.
night. I cannot sleep without it. Literally, like, it's a timer at this point, bro. So the one I listen to is a track. I can pull it up on Spotify really, really quickly for those of you who are interested in which chakra music playlist I listen to. For real, though, use this.
There's different hertz that affect your brain
in different
at
ways.
different levels too. So basically, the idea is that your brain operates at different frequencies, just like there's sound operates at different
frequencies impact the different areas of your brain. And
Exactly.
shit. It's weird.
So when you're in a very deep REM sleep, your brain has a very slow and elongated wavelength of frequency, and so the idea is that if this soundtrack can match that frequency, it can accelerate the path to getting into that deep REM sleep, as well as keep you there for a longer amount of time.
So this one I listen to is called Chakra Cleansing Music, okay? It just says Chakra Cleansing Music. It has a little yoga emoji girl after the word chakra, if that helps. And it's from Miracle Tones. And it's a 15-hour playlist, okay? I'm going to play like the first couple seconds of this one. This is the first one that comes on every night for like 20 seconds, just straight up. And that one helps you let go of fear and guilt.
Let it go.
So by the time I get to track 3, which is liberation from fear after dissolving negativity, I'm out fucking cold. So like every night, the second this bitch comes on, I'm out. And then it cleanses fear and negative blocks, facilitates change, clear negative energy, more negative energy, undo emotional patterns, remove negative blocks. And it goes like all these different frequencies. 396 is what it starts at. Then we go to 417. Then we get to 528 when you're deeper in your sleep. 639, 528 again, 639, 741. It goes all the way up to 852, 963. I don't know what all these different things do. But as Chris said, they help you sleep and they help your mind work through stuff in your sleep. Kind of, it's like feels like a cheat code a little bit. But I'm all about that. Don't even remember how it came up.
It's kind of funny when I like walk out to the back porch to the little Toki late night, and I just hear the guru music
in my room.
Yeah, cascading out from underneath your door. I just expect at some point you're gonna open the door and like fog rolls out and your hair is like down to your shoulders.
Jesus, like yeah. Sometimes I forget to turn that shit off, and I'll like get home from recording, and it'll still be gone in my house, like.
And then
and Bruce and Bella are just sitting in the living room in the yoga position, like with their legs crossed.
Now it's like a Pavlov's dog type thing. It comes on and Ross just he's out.
Yeah, that third
He's
track,
out cold.
your boy is out. Some news here from this panda story as well. Here's a quote. Giant pandas are an international symbol of endangered wildlife and hope, and Xiao Qiji's birth offered the world a much-needed moment of joy amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, the Smithsonian Zoo said in a news release. His name reflects the extraordinary circumstances under which he was born and celebrates the collaboration between colleagues who strive to conserve this species. Obviously, pandas are endangered. They've been endangered at different levels through the course of my life, pretty much the whole time, and it's something that all these conservationists have done a lot to try to save pandas. This dude was born on August 21st. As of November 9th, which was, 2 weeks ago, he weighed 9.2 pounds and stood 21.3 inches tall, which I'm not that impressed by, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Zhao's got to grow faster if he wants to
They
impress
said something
me.
about how quickly they grow, and I was like, 9 pounds? Otis weighs more than 9 pounds.
And now here's a wild fact. Under an agreement with the China Wildlife Conservation Association, all cubs born at the National Zoo are transferred to mainland China when they are 4 years old.
Well, that's tight. Repopulate the Chinese wildlife of the pandas.
Again, it's just like China's just in charge of pandas. This is in D.C., the Smithsonian National Zoo.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's the only place that pandas like naturally live in the wild, is in China. And so they got to ship them back there so they can repopulate. But honestly,
how do they ship them? Is that like, because, we watch like Jurassic Park and they put the T-Rex in a giant cage.
It's like Madagascar. They put them in a big box. And then
there's like 5 holes in the top, and then they just ship them across the ocean. They put like 7 bamboo sticks in there with him, and they're like, good luck, little buddy.
Yeah, he shows up to like the pack of pandas in the wild, and they're like, who the fuck are you?
Well, that's why they have to keep them shits in, captivity for so long, I think.
To get them used to
I don't even know if they're throwing them back out there much anymore.
You don't think so?
I think we hear about it when they do. Because,
I'm saying socially. Like, he's got to get involved in the social
What do you raise this little miracle here for like 6 years, and you're like, all right, buddy, it's time, and you take him out, and you're like, you're free. And then 3 days later, you find his body, and like the other pandas have eaten him.
Yeah. Because he doesn't know how to talk to anybody, He hops in the back of his Uber, and he doesn't know the social skills of keeping his mouth shut, and all of a sudden he's shot and thrown out on the side of the road.
Just because he voted the wrong way.
Yeah. This is the stuff that you're not teaching the wild pandas. Also, panda.
Educate
if I
these
were to
pandas.
have a wild animal as a pet, panda would definitely be up there in the running.
It's
very
up there
cute
for sure.
animals.
It's up there. Koala used to be up there for me. And I
Koala
had
for
a
sure.
koala bear stuffed animal too. I had a ton of stuffed
You know
animals.
why I'm
Big-
out
Big
on-
stuffed animal guy, which now that I'm connecting all of the dots, like this does end with me being a furry at some point.
That's very true. Maybe that's where it's from.
Like it really
You know what
does.
got me out on the koala, though?
Mhm.
Have you ever heard a koala?
Yeah, but more so I've like seen their claws and how they act.
Well, that
and
too.
They're fucking ferocious.
Yeah, they are a little
They'll
ferocious.
rip your face right off.
But also, they don't sound pleasant. They make this like weird like
they're bitchy.
screech
They're
thing. Yeah,
bitchy
like,
and they fucking hate each other. They're like little gremlins, man.
Yeah.
And they don't like people much, and they just want to eat eucalyptus leaves and like claw faces and rip out eyeballs.
Yo,
That's
but I
what
could
koalas
watch
do.
them eat eucalyptus leaves for hours, bro.
Oh my God, they're so chill. And they're just so small. And they hold their little bitty hands of leaves.
You ever
It's
seen a
fucking
panda try to
best.
climb up a tiny ass little bamboo shoot though? This is why they're endangered. They don't know their limits.
Watching a
or
baby
how much they
panda
weigh.
try to climb a tree is another mood for me. That's basically my analogy for my entire life. A baby panda trying to climb a tree and just sliding back down like, "Ah." And then the chakra music kicks in and I just fall asleep on the floor. That's how it goes.
God, now I just really want to watch this Panda So Cute Panda Doing Funny Things Will Make You Laugh compilation on YouTube.
Panda. Anyway,
maybe later.
unfortunately, you can't go see Panda because, the zoo's fucking closed. But they've got 2 giant panda cams still available online for anyone who wants to watch the parents
Also, I'm noticing real quick that
interact with their cub.
Panda is not masked up, which is maybe a bit concerning.
Mask off for
Yeah.
Panda. Mask
Take
off.
that as you will.
Here's some panda facts. They have great camouflage for their environment. Obviously, they're a very distinct black and white animal, but they have a camouflage and communication functions, which is not something I was formerly aware of. But their snowy habitats, the arms and legs are black, helping it to hide in the shade. They've got the white face, neck, belly, and rump to help them hide in the snowy habitats. Their eyes are different from normal bears. Like domestic cats, they have vertical slits for pupils, different than the normal bear. Didn't really know that either, frankly.
I kinda
noticed it, but never made note of it.
Mr. Bear didn't have the vertical slits.
I don't think they had his eyes right. Now that I'm thinking back to it, like he didn't have eyelids, bro. He was just He just had little glass eyes. Dad, I'm gonna need a picture of Mr. Bear in his current habitat, whatever closet
Are you
and
gonna
or
pass
attic
Mr.
that is.
Bear on?
As it was, I don't know if that's like the move. If anything has COVID, it's Mr. Bear.
Mr. Bear and the Whip, or they just hang out together?
I think about this shit though. Okay, listen, we got COVID out of what? We don't even know, right? People were
bat?
like, it's the pandolin, it's the bat soup that some dude ate. We don't even know. But think about that type of shit. Like, I got a panda bear who's been in this planet for at least 33 years absorbing germs that's just been stuffed into a closet somewhere. Like, what foul, airborne, infectious disease is brewing within that panda?
I know he definitely has scabies.
And then extrapolate that out. He does look like he endured a rough bout of scabies, bro. He's just scarred up, this dude. He's got nothing going in terms of the hair consistency across his little furry body.
Well, let me just say, he either deserves to be regifted or buried, but he needs it into his life.
He's going into
Mr. Bear needs closure.
He's going into the Bill tomb, the pyramid I'm having built currently for when I do pass. My eventual demise. I'm
a
going to
myth.
be
The
treated as the
pyramids
pharaohs were
weren't
and
tombs.
buried with all of my favorite shit, which will be comprised of my hopefully I outlive my dogs, and it'll be the bones of my dogs. It'll be my gaming PC. I need that in there just in case. And then Mr. Bear and the Tesla. And one of Chris's feet. I'm taking one of your feet.
Why one of them?
Nobody
And which
will
one?
ever
Do you have
know.
a preference?
That's for me to know.
Do you have a preference? Left or right? I'm right-footed.
I'm going to take the left then.
Thank God.
The less used.
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
More
it's
mileage for me.
Yeah, it's like a more nubile foot for you.
Yeah, it's a fresher
It's
foot.
been less worked.
It's a fresher foot. Here's another fact. Panda cubs, very well protected the first month of their lives, where the mothers keep contact with them nearly 100% of the time, which is great, and it's another reason pandas are fun, because so many of your favorite animals, you learn about them, and then they're like, and it turns out the turtle, after giving birth, just abandons its family.
I've abandoned my boy.
And then it leaves like 120 eggs, and then those eggs are just like, 95% of them die trying to make their way to the ocean. And I'm like, why couldn't you just hang for one more week and parent? Just a bit. God damn, dude. This is a horrible mortality rate for your offspring.
Left them behind, went on vacation. They had the babies, went on the honeymoon. They're like, fuck this. I did my job.
Good luck.
I got them out. It's like that octopus. I think the octopus that we did a couple weeks ago had like 600,000 offspring and only like 600 survive or something like that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Octopus are wild as well.
Octopuses on ecstasy. We didn't even bring that up when we talked
animals are
about
wild.
octopuses.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And then I saw somebody was talking about it on one of the YouTube video essays I was watching about how the CIA did tests on octopus on ecstasy.
Yeah, I don't even
was like,
really
holy
remember
shit.
what that story was.
We
I just
broke
remember
that
naming
news.
an episode. An octopusode. An octopusode.
An octosode?
I remember naming an episode Octopuses on Ecstasy, but I don't actually recall what we talked about because my brain holds memories for like 6 or 7 minutes and then the whole thing is erased.
I'm pretty sure it was like octopuses are normally very non-social, isolated creatures, but when you give them ecstasy, they love to like party and rage hard in groups together.
And
Like,
that
I'm 99% sure that's what
that
it was.
is the science job I wanted, Like, how do you get those ones? Like, because I know there are scientists who spend all day, every day doing shit like taking COVID cultures to try to solve COVID. How do you get to be the dude who's like, what if we pump this octopus full of Molly and then set him free? What if? That's a dope job. Like, that's cool. And I want to be that guy who gets to put animals on crank and like MDMA and then see... and then write down, like, do I get to do the drugs while I watch them on drugs and document? Because that's even a bigger selling point. I will quit this job right now and work for you, Mr. Scientist, just like Jonah Hill did for Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street, if you can show me a pay stub that shows me you get to put octopuses on ecstasies.
That's actually the job I applied for in Austin, but I only got the call back from you.
Fuck. Huge for me, though.
Huge for you.
Huge for me, though.
Not
Giant
huge
pandas,
for
by the way,
octopuses.
they eat for like 10 to 16 hours a day. Respect, mostly bamboo. But they do eat something other than bamboo occasionally. They're 99% vegetarian. Their digestive system is typical of a carnivore, though. So for 1% of their diet, they eat eggs, small animals, and forage in farmland for pumpkins, kidney beans, wheat, and domestic pig food.
If you get caught and killed by a panda and eaten by a panda, that's got to be the equivalent of like getting beat by the Jets.
I don't ever hear about a panda fucking with people, really.
Well, no, I'm not saying a person. I'm saying like in the animal kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you get caught and eaten by a panda, like, bro, that's...
I don't know. It's a
like,
bear.
Yeah, but like, do they move? Like, do they move quick?
It's about the rep, though. It's a bear. Like, that's better than getting got by, like, a lemur. Something weak. Something weak like that. Oh, by the way, sometimes to mark their scent, pandas climb a tree backwards with their hind feet until they're in a full handstand upside down, enabling them to piss while doing a handstand so that they can get their pee higher up the tree.
That's a bit, isn't it? I swear I've seen a meme of some guy pissing in handstand form at some point. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about the scene in That Awkward Moment where Zac Efron has to piss horizontal on a toilet.
No, you're thinking about Blippi upside down taking a shit on his friend's asshole.
That's what it was. It was that drawing in my head. That's exactly what I saw.
It was. And that was your animal of the week.
Blippi.
No, it was Xiao Kiji.
Hey, I mean,
I speak Mandarin now.
At least you said it 3 different ways, so at one
of those is right.
Had to be right.
One of those is right. RBP 351 is also brought to you by Raycon. It is never too early. Certainly not at November 23rd. At this point, we're almost just a month away from Christmas. You got to start shopping for these holidays, especially because today you can save big on a gift they will use every day. Raycon wireless earbuds with seamless Bluetooth pairing and a comfortable noise-isolating fit. You can start listening right away. Keep listening for hours. The audio quality is amazing, comparable to what you get from the other premium brands, except Raycons start at half the price. I really do love Raycons. I've gone jogging with them, played basketball in them, done CrossFit in them, and what's important to me with earbuds is that they're comfortable, that they sound good, of course, and that they stay in my freaking ear, and Raycon accomplishes all those things. So this holiday season, get your friends and family something they can use for calls, for work, or for music, or for play, or for working out, or at home or on the go. Pick up a pair for yourself if you want. Use them. You're going to use them every day. They're phenomenal. Go to buyraycon.com/Ross today to get 20% off your Raycon order. This offer is available for a limited time only. You don't want to miss it. That's buyraycon, BUYRAYCON, buyraycon.com/Ross to get 20% off your Raycons today. Buyraycon.com/Ross. Next segment. Insane headlines of the day. Coles and I like to pick headlines from the news cycle, and we like to pick ones that are funny and entertaining to us.
But only when we check it once a day.
Now, sometimes we also do serious ones, and depending on the way the show is set up per day, we'll tackle more substantial news headlines that are actually what I would call more important. Yeah, today is not so much that.
Not that day, no.
Here's your first headline, and I wrote this one. It's not in a publication. To my knowledge, horny Pope hosts NBA players at Vatican.
Yeah, that sounds like something off the forums.
We're a Pope podcast now. But horny Pope, who was recently caught liking big butts on Instagram, hosted NBA players, also notoriously horny, after a season marked by social justice and activism. According to the Washington Post, the NBA said a Vatican official reached out to set up a meeting with them, and 3 players' union executives met with the Pope, as did players, and these are random, Kyle Korver, Sterling Brown, Marco Bellinelli, Anthony Tolliver, and Jonathan Isaac. The meeting came together hastily with the league opening training camps next week. So I'm assuming the Pope would have digged if they could have brought out like LeBron, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving, dudes that are leaders in the NBA Players Association and that are like, brand, like everyone knows their names in the world.
I've stated on here before, like, I'm not a huge NBA fan. I'll watch the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. Now I'm going to be more interested because the Hornets actually might be kind of decent this year. But
we don't know if they'll be decent, but they will be very fun to watch. We know that.
Yes.
Because y'all got the Ball brother, who I will upfront apologize to right now. There are still Ball family stands coming at me on Twitter because I said, like, a year and a half ago, I was like, please, God, no more Ball family news. I do not care. Holler at me when one of them does something meaningful. And, of course, Charlotte drafted one of them. LaMelo?
Mm-hmm.
LaMelo as the first pick in the NBA draft.
So LaMelo and Lonzo are the only 2 brothers ever to be drafted top 5 before. or top 10. I think top 10,
That's fucking crazy.
which is absolutely wild. So
but y'all have
LeVar,
him, and you have.
Gordon Hayward, and we have Devontae Graham
It's going to be an interesting year for Charlotte
and
Hornets
Miles
fans.
Bridges. I mean, it should.
Gordon Hayward gone from the Celtics, who, by the way, went from like, oh my God, the Celtics, look at that, 5 years ago to like, you guys didn't do anything. What happened there? Boston,
Yeah, we paid him a lot of money.
With your
We'll see what happens there. But
46 championship rings.
regardless,
Stick them up your ass.
the only player that I really recognize on this list is Kyle Korver. I don't think I even know who Sterling Brown, Marco Bellinelli,
I know Bellinelli.
Anthony
But I'm
Tolliver,
an NBA
and
guy,
Jonathan
though.
Isaac are.
These are not household names other than Kyle Korver. That's the guy you should know.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Kyle Korver is, it's a little weird.
I
Because
know
he
Kyle
looks
Korver,
exactly
yeah.
like Ashton Kutcher, and he can drain threes. And if that doesn't turn you on, I don't know what does.
Is Kyle Korver the guy that's... I feel like somebody said that I looked like Kyle Korver at
You
some
did get
point.
called a Kyle Korver doppelganger recently, I
that's-
believe.
Yes, I feel
Somebody
like
called you like a young
somebody-
Kyle Korver.
Somebody, yeah, I
That's a
swear
that's a
somebody
compliment.
tagged me in that.
That's a compliment.
Thanks, man.
That's just somebody telling you you're a very handsome individual. That's all that is. Because Kyle Korver, undeniably handsome man.
Great jawline.
Great eyes, great three-point stroke.
Really.
Can't speak to any of his other strokes.
He strokes it.
Strokes the three.
He's played for a lot of different teams. I'm seeing Bucks,
Oh
Celtics,
yeah, man, he's been in the league
Hawks,
forever. Now I'm going to
Grizzlies,
make a note about
Jazz.
this group of players that was invited to join the Pope. A
Sure.
mistake to leave out Daniel House Jr. off this list because that guy was so horny he cost the Rockets a serious playoff run by getting banned from the bubble after letting a COVID testing female agent into his room in the midst of a series against who did we play before the Lakers? Doesn't matter. I'm still not even clear what happened there with that story. I'm not sure anyone is, but Pope and Daniel horny, Michael. That's important to remember. In all seriousness, back to this
What was
coverage.
the reason for this visit?
No comment. Brown and Korver were members last season of the Milwaukee Bucks who triggered a protest that spilled across the league and then into other sports when the team decided to sit out a postseason game after the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So you'll remember the Milwaukee Bucks were the first team to step up and say, no, we are not playing tonight. This happened in our city. We do not feel it's appropriate. That spilled over to the rest of the league and then outside of the NBA into many other leagues. And it became the most engrossing year of social justice in sports that I have seen in my 33 years so far of sports fandom. I was a sports fan the second I popped out of the womb holding Mr. Bear. Go Rockets! That was my first words.
It provided the opportunity for the players to discuss their individual and collective efforts addressing social and economic injustice and inequality occurring in their communities.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's fun. It's interesting to me that it was kind of hastily thrown together at the last minute, and that you don't really have the A-listers that you would assume. And it's also interesting based on the other things going in the news with the Pope right now, which we're going to get to in a second.
It's also interesting, like, what is the head of the Catholic Church? Like, what is that in there going to do?
The Pope and guys like the Dalai Lama, what they do is they go around and they meet with as many influential people in the world as they can to kind of keep a pulse on everything that's related to social stuff, to religion, to human rights, and the well-being of human beings across the world. So that's sort of like, it's just like one of the things they do, man. They go meet with all these different people in all these different countries in an effort to have a better feel for everything that's going on so that they can lead their people. Basically,
yeah,
so he can lead the Catholic people. Brown, one of the guys that was here on this trip, first name Sterling. Not familiar with him in terms of basketball, but he apparently was also outspoken about an encounter he had police in 2018 outside of a Walgreens pharmacy when he was tasered after parking illegally between two handicap spots, which probably doesn't seem worthy of a taser. He received a $750,000 lawsuit settlement with the Milwaukee police, or he recently agreed to it, rather. And again, that's why he was there. So I guess they just found the guys they could that made sense for the best they could do, and they got this meeting going. And continuing from Washington Post, a Vatican media photo of the meeting, which took place in the Papal Library, showed that neither Francis nor the visitors were wearing masks. Throughout the pandemic, the Pope has eschewed mask-wearing protocols and apparently asked visitors to do the same. Even people who have arrived at the Vatican wearing masks remove them when meeting with the pontiff, in a practice that has perplexed outsiders and caused concern among some Vatican officials.
Yeah, that might concern me a little bit too, you know.
But like, are they just, if they're testing all these dudes rapid test right before the meetings, then that's a totally different deal. But if it's just that they're literally like, Pope is like, no, God got me. Everybody mask off, then that's probably going to end with the Pope getting COVID at some point, mathematically. If he just keeps meeting with like as many people as possible, which seems to be the entire job
Of the Pope.
unless you're watching the young Pope, and then the entire job is to get like the flyest clothing possible in Pope form, though.
I haven't seen that. I watched, I think, episode 1 or 2, and it seemed really interesting, but I kind of, like, it seemed like a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
Like it is a lot.
I liked watching the Pope smoke cigs, though. Watching the Pope rip
Look,
cigs is kind of exciting.
Watching the Pope swag out and smoke cigs is tight, but that show was weird, and I love weird shit. But like I'm in for an artsy romp or whatever, but this was fucking next level, bro. Like the season ended, and Barrett and I were just like we covered it in OCC just randomly, and we were like, I don't know what that was, or I don't really understand what just happened. Anyway, huge for the NBA. I mean. I love the way the league has continued to be at the forefront of social justice issues, and that they have allowed, or maybe not allowed, but their players have found a way to be representative of what's really happening in this world, and to care about their communities and make their voices heard, as you just said, Chris. And I'm a big fan of the NBA, and I'm a big fan of the way they operate and the way their players lead, and that they try to make an impact in this world. And as such, anytime they get to meet with Horny Pope, I'm cool with that. And we've got more on Horny Pope coming just a second. But first, RBP 351 is also brought to you by our sports betting sponsor, MyBookie. If sports come up, MyBookie comes with it, baby. And the holidays are upon us. We come together to celebrate the traditions as old as time, turkey dinners, NFL games on the slate, and the return of MyBookie's Turkey Day free play. You heard that right. It is back this week, and this week only. You sign up and you get your first deposit matched halfway, which means if you put in $100, they'll throw in another $50, and you'll receive a $250 risk-free bet on the Texans-Lions game full spread, the full game spread, okay? So how does it work? You make your deposit, you place a bet on the early game spread, Texans-Lions, all right? It's a $250 risk-free bet. If you win, you win, and that's cash in your pocket. If your bet goes sideways, you don't even sweat it because they've got you covered with a refund of up to $250 on your wager credited directly to your MyBookie account. Celebrate Turkey Day the MyBookie way. Use the promo code RBP to claim your deposit bonus all the way up to $1,000 and grab your $250 risk-free bet. That's promo code RBP to claim your deposit bonus and the bet. If you've been on the fence about playing on MyBookie.ag, do not miss out on this opportunity. You will want to get in early because the following day, MyBookie is cranking up the heat with boosted odds. Their Black Friday special. Log in every hour for a new deal. The Friday after Thanksgiving from 10 a.m. Eastern Time to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The value just keeps on coming and the players keep on winning. That's why they call football season winning season at MyBookie. Check it out now. MyBookie.ag. No risk, all gravy, baby. Code on sign up is RBP. Now our next headline. We're going to go back to the Horny Pope again momentarily, as his horniness is not out of the hot water related to butts on Instagram yet. Has anyone called him his horniness?
No, but that was really good. I haven't heard his horniness yet, but that's excellent. You might want to trademark that ASAP. Or
I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and guarantee somebody's made that joke. But look,
I'll check Pornhub.
It's going to be okay. We're going to survive. Here's your headline. Vatican asks Instagram to get to the bottom of Pope account's lingerie model like. We talked about this story. Here's some more. The Vatican is seeking an explanation from Instagram after the official account of Pope Francis liked a photograph of a lingerie-clad Brazilian model. Again, we spoke on this Natalia Garabato, Tomo Arigato, Mr. Roboto character, who was dressed in a schoolgirl-style little skirt and undergarments, and Pope Francis's verified account.
Whom which Ross basically made famous. Let's not forget.
Liked. Yeah. Oh, Natalia, not the Pope.
Not
I was about to say. I don't think I get credit for the Pope, but for Natalia, maybe. The Catholic news agency reported that he liked this photo, so that it was confirmed by CNA. It's the Catholic news agency. It says here, it's still unclear when the photograph, which shows Garabato's skimpily clad buttocks, was first liked, but the interaction was visible on November 13th before being unliked the next day. After the Catholic news agency approached the Holy See press office for comment, the news agency said, "We are in touch with Instagram to find out what happened." Vatican spokesman Matteo Bruni told CNN on Friday. Facebook, which owns Instagram, told CNN, "The issue is currently being investigated in close contact with the Holy See." SEE. And I guess that's the group that...
No, that's just the name of the Pope. Like, I watched a video on this one time. Basically, anything that technically the Holy See is the throne in which the Pope sits on, but also it's the Popeness in and of itself as a whole. It has a couple different layers to it, but in essence, the Holy See is just the Pope and his surroundings. From what I
Also
understand.
called the See of the Pope.
Yeah.
Or the See of Rome. It's the jurisdiction of the Bishop of Rome, known as the Pope.
Yes.
So everything in his jurisdiction is the Holy See.
Yes. Like everything he touches.
S-E-E.
S-E-E, yeah. But
The capital of which is Vatican City.
has anybody, asked like, "Hey bro, did you like this picture?"
No,
Like, was
because
this
he
you?
did like the picture.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, is it's no investigation that needs to be had.
like Instagram's going to have to like come backdoor this and like tap on like somebody's shoulder and be like, "Hey man, so it turns out it was just the Pope."
7.4 million people follow the pontiff on his official Instagram account. So it's not as if this is something you can just erase. It's happened. It's already done. The screenshots are there. Nobody cares what the initial statement is about whether it was an intern or the Pope's social media secretary or whatever the Holy See has to say. Pope Francis horny, Michael.
Pope horny, yeah.
Pope horny, and that's it. Like, that's the investigation. What happened? He double tapped some booty cheeks that he, like, in his horniness, thought he might like to clap. But he can't clap because he Pope, even though Pope horny. Garibaldo responded to the incident, writing on Twitter on November 13th, "At least I'm going to heaven. And I am quite certain that is not how that works." Here is another headline from the New York Post. Oh, what the fuck? Been signed out of Google. Show's over. Never mind.
Oh, damn. Well, thanks for coming, guys.
All right, this was a good one, though. No, we'll talk about all the other stuff that we were going to talk about next week. I'm just kidding. Let me pull back the outline, though.
Do you want to go Ninja Turtle-esque green slime next?
Here we are, Vatican. We're over the Vatican, and here's your other headline. Ninja Turtle-esque green slime sinkhole turns heads in Toronto.
Yeah, because this is, something you
fucking
wanted to
dope,
add
though.
in 2020.
You got to look at these pictures.
Yeah,
It turns out
it
there's a
is
very
sick.
good and safe explanation for this as well, so we're all fine. It's going to be okay. Toronto citizens were taken aback this week when a photo of a sinkhole full of glowing green slime made the rounds on Twitter. I saw a picture of it. It is awesome, and it does immediately remind you of the Ninja Turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which, again, since this show is about me and my childhood lately, I had Mr. Bear, and I also had the Ninja Turtles. I was a huge, huge fan of the Ninja Turtles. Christopher, did you have much exposure to Ninja Turtles as you were born 12 years after me?
This may be something that we actually are able to have a lot in common with, because I think you got the original live-action Ninja Turtles movie in your childhood.
I did
and then
indeed.
I
All three of them, in fact.
I got animated movie, animated TV show, and video game.
So, animated TV show being the OG cartoon?
Yes.
So I had obviously a ton of that. Watched that a ton.
I guess I just got the reruns on Cartoon Network and stuff like that.
And that was the first thing. It was the OG cartoon, which led to there were two things I had a lot of when I was a little kid. Balls. No, I'm just kidding. Two things. Playing cards for sports. So I had a ton of baseball cards, basketball cards, mostly not really football so much. Like NFL playing cards aren't as much of a commodity as the other two. But then I had about 1,000 little Ninja Turtle action figures, man. If I had a birthday, I'll give you another example. I received Mr. Bear when I was born, right? Well, when my little brother was born 5 years later, Sammy, my Mimi gave me a Shredder action figure. The Shredder was the villain in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which in hindsight, what was the message there, Mimi? Like,
what?
She gave me the bad guy when my brother was born. I don't know. It just sits weird now. But I just remember being like, fuck it. Like, I was so pissed about this little kid being born, like, taking all the attention away from me, right? And because you're a little kid, and I was 5 years old. I didn't understand life. And then she handed me the Shredder, and I was like, fuck it. Mom should pop kids out, like, every weekend. This is dope. I got a new Shredder toy. I loved the Ninja Turtles. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of these toys. I played with them for hundreds of hours of my life. I was obsessed with the Ninja Turtles. So if there's green ooze flowing through the sewer in Toronto, I'm there because I'm trying to get powered up, bro.
Let me just say the Ninja Turtle PS2 video game was fire.
Also, the arcade, the OG Ninja Turtle arcade game.
I've never played that one.
Oh, it's one of the goats. It's so good,
Really?
dude. Y'all don't have it on your arcade thing?
We probably do.
I bet
honestly.
if y'all have it, I'm coming over.
All right, I'll let you know.
Because the
Guys, we
Ninja
gotta-
Turtles arcade game is up there with The Simpsons and like a handful of other ones as
Really?
the best, and it's not close. Like,
We got
it's
a,
so fun, dude.
We got an arcade machine in the juice box, and it's one of those. It's like a newer one from like the late '90s that has like 10,000 games, and you can plug in a computer to it and download any arcade game you want. It's pretty
It's
incredible.
sick. And it
It's really
looks
sick.
just like the old school ones. Like
Yeah.
you don't really be knowing one way or the other. It's fucking bad.
If you walked into our house and like you could pretend that it was 1987, and I mean honestly, there would be nothing to question that until you get upstairs and you see the gaming PCs and like editing software. But the downstairs looks
All
like
I
it's
gotta do
straight out of the 70s.
is strap on a diaper and bring Mr. Bear,
Let's fucking go.
and we're there.
We're
It's
basically
1987.
Amen. Yeah, but then I had, I think the end of my bout with the Ninja Turtles was in 2014. They came out with the most recent live action film. Megan Fox starred in it. I'm not sure if you remember this. For some reason, they made all the turtles look like they literally have been doing steroids for the last 30 years of their life. They all looked kind of like, remember this? They looked like disgusting and like ripped kind
Yeah,
of.
but didn't that movie crush?
It actually might have crushed at the box office, but it only got 5.8 on IMDb.
I mean,
didn't
but
do
for
that
a
well.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action movie, like
Hey.
5.8 is kind of the bar.
The one you grew up with got a 6.9, but I'm gonna bump it up.
The OG
Yeah,
live
the
action
OG,
one?
yeah.
I mean, but that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, that was a tight, well done
Well,
movie.
this was
And
directed.
it had some dark. It was dark, bro. Like, it was not like.
Well, that's why the Ninja Turtles were always so sought after, because like the underlying context of it always was kind of dark. Like
Well, and it was
four
the,
guys
the
struggling
setting,
to fit in.
The setting that was really dark too, because it was New York City and it was the sewers, and it
And
was
in
like,
the 80s, New York was
yeah,
kind of
man,
like
it was super dirty. This
like
was when-
crime-ridden city in the like New York. Anytime New York's depicted in the 80s, it always looks kind of like
it's more Gotham.
grunge.
That's
yeah,
Gotham. It's
That's
like
Gotham,
the trash everywhere,
Yeah.
and the darkness, and it's wet, and it's never sunny, and it's never depicted as like a sunshiny place. It's just like this old musty fuckhole
Yeah. How much did
with
this?
turtles in the sewers, fighting crime and ordering pizza. They're obsessed with pizza,
Oh,
bro.
obsessed with the slice.
Which, in hindsight, like,
Did you have a favorite, by the way?
yeah, I was about to bring this up because it's weird, but I kind of rotated. The orange one was my fave for quite a while, which is
He was the guy with the
Donatello.
Yeah, I think orange guy was the more goofy one, right?
Hold on.
God, it's been so. We're gonna botch. the
Okay,
f-
Donatello's
botch the
purple
fuck
guy.
out of this.
Sorry, Michelangelo's orange guy. Raphael is red. Leonardo is blue. At a different point, Michelangelo was my favorite. But here's the thing I'm noticing now that I'm adult and I'm looking back. Leonardo and Raphael were never my favorites, because I was always confused. But like, Donatello has a staff, a bow staff. Michelangelo has nunchucks, much like we do if you go to birddogs.com and use the code RBP. And then those are both wooden, right? You're knocking people out. You're disarming them. You're fucking dudes up, maybe breaking some legs, whatever. But then you got Raphael, who's working with dual size, those fucking 3-pronged knives, essentially.
Yeah, and he was always the one that was like kinda,
Angry?
Yeah, angry and kind of like more edgy. Like you always thought maybe
They
he
called
like
him Raph a
dips
lot.
out to the dark side at some point or something like that. He's like doing some crazy shit.
Yeah. I think it's either Raph or Mikey. I can't remember in the first one who gets really the shit beat out of him, and they have to go save him, and he's like in a bathtub and shit. But it always weirded me out. Like Donatello and Mikey could be swanging and banging with these wooden weapons, and then Leo and Raph would just roll up and what? Decapitate everyone? Stab them to death? Leonardo had dual swords.
Like samurai swords.
So they're all out there doing like karate, like hi-ya, wa, cha, ba, and the fucking staff, and then all of a sudden what?
The
We're
boys
chopping
come in
off
and-
arms and shit? Like, what the fuck was he doing with these swords? And in the way they would depict it in the show, it was like the swords didn't cut anybody ever, right? He never stabbed anybody. He was mostly sweeping, like using it to flip people upside down and like knock people over and really fight other guys that had weapons and then kick them in the chest or whatever. But let's be real. You don't roll around with dual swords on steroids as a turtle and not stab and decapitate left and right.
You know what I kind of want now? Like a rated R, gritty ass version of Teenage Mutant Ninja
Just
Turtles.
where like Raph can't stop doing blow. He's like in and out of rehab.
Yeah,
Like Mikey has 3 fucking kids on child support that he's having to make payments for.
yeah. While they're like slinging slime on the street corners to try to make it.
Yeah, Leo starts up a pizza place like in the sewer and it just goes bust and he's having to get PPP from the fucking government to keep his business alive during COVID.
They're on welfare. Yeah. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja TMT during COVID. That's the next one.
Did they ever try to do like a adult Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I think the 2014 one was like supposed to be a little bit grittier, but it still just came across as like very corny. Like they definitely took a darker tone to it. But
And
also,
now because I'm like, I guarantee you, if I go to Pornhub right now, I can find people dressed as turtles. Fucking, I'm just saying, that's facts. Not sure what that has to do with
every time
anything.
furries are just
frankly.
they never leave your mind anymore, do they?
But these turtles,
You might want to talk to somebody about this.
they're built. Last headline, though. One more. Oxford English Dictionary couldn't pick just one word of the year for 2020.
Didn't know we got a word of the year.
I did because I've reported on it before.
Ah.
It's very important to me, the word of the year.
Sure.
Love words. But this year has been such a mess that even the Oxford English Dictionary, otherwise known as OED, has been unable to name its traditional word of the year, instead exploring how far and how quickly the language has developed this year, which is a fascinating thing that I had not at all considered. This year has seen a rise and spike in this new vocabulary and all these new words that we have never really had at the forefront of our language. Let's see, acquittal, lockdown, social distancing, reopening. In June, use of the phrase Black Lives Matter exploded, followed by cancel culture. And then an abbreviation of Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, BIPOC, BIPOC.
Mm-hmm.
And climate emergency, by the way, was the word of the year in 2019, and that's why I remember reporting on it, because that's not a word, that's two words, and I was like, wow, these guys are getting lazy. Guess what 2018 was?
Toxic.
Ha ha!
I did.
Yeah,
my
I thought that
research.
was from back when Britney did her Toxic song, but no, it's 2018 with
I
the
kinda
word
wanna listen.
toxic. But so we don't get a word of the year this year, apparently. From like, all they're doing is still tracking all the different, obviously, a completely new word. COVID-19 came out on, first recorded on February 11th. The word lockdown, social distancing, and reopening were all put in there February 11th. There were spikes on different things like bushfire in January when Australia suffered its worst fire season on record. Then it was acquittal in February when Donald Trump was impeached. His impeachment trial ended. The fact that they track all these words and their usage and the spikes in usage is something I wasn't really, obviously, even having reported on it before. I wasn't aware of how they were doing it. I didn't realize that it was like they're using data points and shit to try to figure out like, what is the word of the year? Like, they take this dead ass serious, which is really, really funny. So much so that they're struggling to the point that they've come out and had to say, like,
We don't even know.
help,
There's just so much going on. Well, like,
help us.
do you know? Remember at the end of every year, Google usually releases like a "This was 2019" or whatever, and it's like all the top searched Google searches. of the year.
Yeah.
I always find those videos so fascinating
love that
because the
shit.
relationship between language and culture is so intertwined, and we like rarely ever talk about that. But like, especially with the rise of Google specifically and search engines and social media, like it's gotten so much easier to track what people think about just to find out what people are searching the most about.
Yeah, I love the ones that they put out for Pornhub when it's like the most searched things for males in each state, the
This
most
year
searched
has
thing
to-
for females in each state. And by the way, there's always one where you're like, Idaho, what? Like, one of them is always weird. It'll be like lesbian scissoring,
Spuds.
big butts, like titties. And then, like, one state is like dry potatoes. And you're like, what the fuck?
You're like, what?
Or one state will legit be like big furries. And it's because there's 14 people in,
That are blowing up the servers 24 hours a day, just constantly streaming big furry porn.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Well, since the
That's
what do
why
they call it?
Texas will be that.
Since the
this year.
OED could not provide us with words of the year or word of the year, I've got some options, and then I'm gonna pick one, and I'm gonna let Coles throw out some of his favorite words of the year as well.
Google signed me out too.
We're gonna do some. Yeah, it's fucked up.
Fuck you, Google.
We're gonna do some words of the year here. So my first one is comeback.
Of course.
It was the year of the comeback.
Of course.
We've been coming back all damn year. We're going to continue coming back harder, faster, stronger until the date changes to 2021. It's the year of the comeback. We've been getting our dicks kicked in the whole time. The whole time we've been fighting back. We're coming back, and it's working.
This is like an inauguration thing, right, too? We have like a couple months going into 2021 maybe still coming back, you know?
No, calendar changes. It's over.
It's
The
over?
year ends.
Oh shit. Okay.
The year officially ends, and
You
this is
better
the
be
year of
back,
something
baby.
else.
Let
You
me
just
just tell
won't
you.
know what it is yet until I announce it. That's the thing you have to keep in mind.
Sure.
Comeback, one of my words of the year. Stonks, another one of my words of the year. First year I've ever invested in the stock market, and that I've started learning about it. And obviously, our president loves to talk about the stock market in relation to pretty much everything. That's one of the bars he uses to measure how well he's doing, which is funny because it makes no sense. And stonks is a funny-ass word to me. It's one of my words of the year. Also, masturbating, which is masturbating in a mask with your mask on. Masturbating,
Sure.
which I made up just before this show started. And then my word of the year, undoubtedly, is perspective. It's one that we started talking about last year, but it really didn't make all that much sense, and it didn't click all the way for me until this year. And it's something that I've focused on every single week at this point to try to get myself and my mind right every single week. And it's been the most helpful thing for me. This was very much a year of perspective for me, and of trying to see things from other people's perspective to better understand my perspective, and why I have it and where it comes from, and to keep a good perspective on everything is paramount in 2020 to maintaining a positive outlook and mood and happiness, really, because like we've talked about earlier on in this show, it's been a beating, bro, and the news is a beating. You got to have perspective on all that to really keep yourself healthy and happy. So if I had to pick a word of the year, if I was up for a suggestion for the old OED, I'd say perspective would be a really, really good one to consider. Christopher, what were your words of the year that you'd like us to think about today?
You said perspective. I said eye-opening. So similar ideas. I mean, I completely agree with you there. This was the first year where, everything that went on this year was very eye-opening to me in gaining more perspective on the world that we live in, the people that are around us, and what we can do to play our role in this world a little bit better every day. The second one I said was growth. This year specifically for me, especially because today marks 1 year on the day since my accident and my DWI.
Oh.
Going back and looking on that, the growth that I've experienced over this last year, I've grown more in the last year than I've probably grown in the 5 years prior to that. As a person, even physically, I've put on 28 pounds this year. I mean, I was showing Ross a picture of myself from a year ago today. And
You look like you were going to die.
Yeah, I looked like a crackhead.
I've been there.
I was very, very skinny. I was like 129 pounds. Or 139 pounds, something like that.
He's like
grew physically.
6'1". That's too little weights.
Too little. Grew physically, grew mentally, grew spiritually. And this year for me has seen a significant amount of growth. I'm very proud of myself for that. Also, of course, masking off, which is very different than masturbating. It's masturbating using a mask, not wearing.
You want to keep your penis protected.
Exactly.
You mask over the hand.
Exactly.
Your
Mask
penis
up.
can't get COVID
Exactly.
this way.
And my word of the year this year is going to have to be purpose. I've really focused on, for a long time, I think I really focused on trying to find happiness, right? And I think it's important to find happiness. But it's also impossible to be happy 24/7, right? You're always going to have your lows, and those lows are always going to make your highs better. The thing that I've now started searching for more than just happiness is purpose. Because if I can find that purpose 24/7, which you can have purpose 24/7.
Oh, for sure.
Then you can always be working towards those moments of happiness.
And it gives you a drive through the tougher moments that are tough, where
Absolutely.
it's hard to see through and to see happiness being a thing that you're familiar with again. And yeah, if you have purpose, and it's that, what's that famous book, The Purpose-Driven Life? It can drive you through anything, really, in my opinion. It's that, and I would argue even that you can't really have purpose without perspective. You obviously have to have your eyes open to gain perspective. You need stonks to have your eyes open. And you have to be masturbating to open your eyes. So all those things ended up being connected, and those are our words of the year.
Yeah, it's really just a big spider web of life,
Perspective,
really just all adding up.
comeback, stonks, masturbating, eye-opening, growth, purpose, and masking off.
Welcome
which
to
is
2020.
Cranking with a mask. This has been an overtly sexual podcast Brought to you by Leesa. Your mattress is the most important purchase you'll ever make for your place, whether you're grinding in a studio apartment or you live in a 4-bedroom with 2 kids or some shit. Having a fantastic bed for your body and mind to rest every night has never been more paramount than it is now. We're all stressed out. Life is hard. Leesa knows how important rest is to a better life, and Leesa is the foundation of a healthier, happier you. To Leesa, a bed is more than just a place to sleep. It's a place for relaxation and rest. I spend a lot of time in my bed. It's a very important place to me. I've been rocking with Leesa for a few years now. They've been an incredible supporter of this show, and they make the best sleepy time products in the entire world. I've spoken on their blankets. I love their pillows. I sleep on their pillow every single night. I've slept on their bed for several years now. I had the Leesa Hybrid forever. It's phenomenal. The Hybrid is so great. Best years of sleep of my life. Didn't think it could get any better, but my God, the Leesa Legend that I have now is phenomenal. Absolutely great. And I moved the old Hybrid into what is Christopher's bedroom / office / the guest room in my house. The Hybrid's still great. Leesa hooked my Mimi up in a memory care unit with a Leesa bed as well. They also donate 1 mattress for every 10 they sell through organizations that work in causes like foster care prevention. To date, donating more than 33,000 mattresses through more than 1,000 nonprofits. Leesa mattresses are made in the USA. In-home delivery and setup is available. Financing is also available. Don't miss out, RBP gang. Live healthier, live happier by resting deeper. Order today and get 15% off any of the best mattresses or pillows or blankets, everything they got at Leesa. For a limited time at leesa.com/RBP. Use the promo code RBP. LEESA.com/RBP, promo code RBP for 15% off any mattress for a limited time. Keep in mind, you also get a 100-night risk-free trial plus free shipping and returns. Leesa.com/RBP. That will do it. But before you head out to take on the world, it's time for some very important announcements. First and foremost, you've been saddled with 3 legal obligations as a result of having listened to this entire podcast. Number 1, rate and review. Check that box. Move on to number 2, share the show with one other human being. Check that box. Move on to number 3. Support our sponsors who support us and keep us in business. You just heard from 5 of them today. Cuts Clothing, cutsclothing.com/RBP. Hawthorne, you just go to hawthorne.co. Raycon, go to buyraycon.com/Ross. Leesa, it's leesa.com/RBP. And, of course, MyBookie.ag, code RBP. Support our sponsors. That's how the game goes. They keep coming back. We keep getting to grow. You get your show. Good stuff. Those are your 3 legal obs. Complete them all. Boom. Move on with your life. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we're at the Ross Bolen Podcast. We fill up our story with photos and videos sent in by our listenership. We make announcements about content, live streaming schedule on Twitch, etc. Instagram's great, at the Ross Bolen Podcast on Instagram. We're also on Twitter, at Ross Bolen Pod, and we are on Facebook.com/Ross Bolen Podcast as well. You can follow me, Ross Bolen, everywhere at WR Bolen, at WRBOLEN on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, and then, of course, on twitch.tv/Boss Rollin', where Chris and I will be live again tonight, Monday at 7 p.m. Central, November 23rd, playing Warzone, playing Cold War, and most importantly, in my opinion, Apex Legends Season 5, 6?
7?
Whatever the newest season of Apex, I think it is 7. Apex Legends, one of my favorite games ever, arguably the one that brought Chris and I together.
It is.
And their new season is so sick, and I'm so stoked on playing it some more tonight. So, Chris, where can everybody follow you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Q0ULS. You can find me on Instagram at ChrisSC99. And you can find me on Snapchat at Chris_Coulson. That's COULSON.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Check out Bolen Media's television and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, available wherever you listen to RBP. As I said, we are switching things up as of last week on OCC. The show is accessible to everybody now. If you've never listened, go check out Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, available wherever you listen to this podcast, and look forward to 2021. And really starting in December, we do The Sopranos on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles Patreon page. If you're a Sopranos fan or you want to be a part of that, get in there. That will do it for RBP 351, produced by Mike Moody Garcia of Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. We'll be back on Wednesday with RBP 352, our Thanksgiving special. And, of course, this Friday, just like every Friday, on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast with another exclusive premium ad-free episode for dues-paying members of the RBP gang, pledging their monthly support to keep the podcast showing and growing. It's a minimum of just $5 monthly on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Come through, support the show, get more RBP. It looks like you will be getting a solo dolo Ross Patreon pod this week as Chris heads home for Thanksgiving. Travel safely this week for those of you that are. Tell everyone you encounter about RBP. If you're going to risk the life of yourself and your family members, you might as well spread the good word of RBP along the way while you do it. I am, of course, kidding, but seriously, stay safe out there. And you are not alone. Podmen get paid. Respect Mr. Park. Strength and honor. Gang, gang, gang. Christopher.
Peace be with you.
And also with you.